What's happening, YouTube? What's going on this morning? A little bit of coffee. We'll wait until people come in before we start. So we'll just sit here and hang out with you. And we'll talk about is your business failing in trucking? And this goes for any business, because you got to know one important thing in business, and you got to know how to operate that business, which a lot of folks don't understand the concept. What's up, Leroy? What's happening? Big Face Trucker. Man, what are you doing up this early, Big Face? You should still be sleeping. Mr. Polo, what's up? Light Bright. I'm totally stepping on Snorlord's coffee live feed. I didn't know he had one. I had a, it's not showing up on mine, so I'm sorry, Shannon. Should I just cancel then? Should I cancel this presentation? I got the channel up. I hit the home button, and I don't see his live feed at all. So I got nothing that shows that he is live. Mr. Polo, I'm glad I could be of service. Will Burner Express, what's happening? Satan's Priest says, Narc sent me. Morning. Quick hit. What's going on? Boulder Woods, man. I like that font. Everybody likes that font. They just don't know how you did it. That's a secret, trade secret, right? What's up, Jose? Ain't seen you in a while. Silos, what's going on? I agree, you guys both went live at the same time. Yeah, well, it still isn't showing up on my feed that he's live. So, I mean, I'll make this quick then, and everybody can go back and watch Snorlord's channel. Codename Narc, what's going on? Good communication is the start of a successful business. That's true. I'm trying to stay busy, and as always, you know, we are growing, so if you would like to lease on, go to lighttrucking.com and do all that good stuff. And it's going to be hard to find an owner-operator company that is going to give you as much as we do when it comes to help, right? Help when your business is starting to go south and you don't know what to do. We have helped a lot of people out, and we've got the ship righted back up, right? We got them back on the right track, and that's where this video is going. So you got BHDC and CPD. If you know those two acronyms, you will do well in this business and in any business, right? And they are right there. BHDC, business home daily cost. You got to know your business, home, and daily cost. So you got to add up everything on your business. And you don't include fuel, folks, because fuel is a variable, and you can't predict what it is. You just have to subtract it when you get this CPD cost per day. So if you know these two things, if you know this, here, let's get some red in there. If you know this right here, if you know that, and you know this, you'll do well in business, and you'll be able to survive any market. And this all hinges on one thing. One thing. What makes a true entrepreneur? I mean, anybody can go buy a truck, let's face it. Right? If you got, well, not anybody. Well, yeah, you can, if you do lease purchase, because a lot of these lease purchase places will sell a truck to somebody that has zero money. They have zero credit, right? And they're in a truck because they're going to charge them an ungodly amount of money to do so. There's a price. There's a price to pay. And you will pay the price. And hopefully, you know what you're signing and getting into. Shannon Thomas Trucking says, I love it here. Life is way better. Just saying. Smiley faces, coffee, on fire, superstar, got stars going, all that good stuff. Tennessee Trucking, what's happening? And here we go. Let's get back to this. So, this entails to any business. And we can go in here, and here's the number one thing. If you know these two things right here, you have to have, and an entrepreneur has to have a skill set. There's only two things you need to be a successful entrepreneur. And most people only have one. That's why they're not that successful, right? You have to have a skill set, and you have to have the mindset. And this is where they're lacking. This right here is where they're lacking. Right, Shannon? Snow Lord, I didn't know you were live because I checked first. So I guess we hit the button at the same time. Now, after this is over, if we want to, get on YouTube and look at the analytics and see who hit the button first, I guess, I might have to buy you some coffee or something. Nightbot, somebody time Nightbot out. Somebody time that guy out. Snow Lord, time Nightbot out. Get him out of there. Good morning, Anthony Bressler. What's up, man? How's your family? Anthony hasn't been in here in so long. I don't know what happened to the guy. This is where I would say 90% of the people, or more, maybe 99% of the people, fail in this right here, the mindset. The mindset. Why is that? That's because they've been brought up and taught by a lot of these mega companies, especially the owner-operator ones. And they listen to all these old guys out there, all these old timers out there. And you know how it is when you're old. Most people when they're old, they don't like to change their way. They think they're right and nobody else is right, and this is the way you do it, and this is the way they always done it, and everything else, and so forth. But they have the wrong mindset because they're running their business on this right here, CPM or RPM, whichever one you want to call it. Here, let me erase it over here, and I'll put it up here so you can see it. Right? So they're running it on CPM or RPM. Cost per mile, rate per mile. That's what they're running it on. They say, well, you know what? For me to be successful in trucking, I need $2.50 a mile. Well, where do they get $2.50 a mile, folks? Where do they get it? Where is it? Where does this $2.50 come from? Where does $2.50 a mile come from? Anybody tell me? Anybody tell me where $2.50 a mile comes from? What they think $2.50 a mile comes from. And I'll tell you why their mindset's wrong. Because if they're looking at a load board, and let's say there's 300 loads in their area, and they're all paying under $2 a mile, what happens to that driver? He's doing a 150 mile radius, and that day he sees 300 loads, and he looks at all 300 of them all day long. 300 loads pop up. What do you think that guy does? What do you think he does? I'm going to give you an example of what he does. He sits and waits, right? That's what I'm doing. I'm just sitting waiting for an answer, for somebody to answer the question. Let let me get on my live feed so that way I can see all of the, turn off the back feed here because it's going to back feed. Okay, we're off. CDN 220 base rate plus 30 cents fuel surcharge. Well, we don't care about fuel surcharge when it comes to spot market because you're putting it all in anyway. Sits, right, Jose? He sits. He sits. So what happens when he sits that day? Because his mindset is still $2.50 a mile. So he sits that day. And what's $2.50 a mile based on? Miles, right? He has to base it on something. So he says, well, I need $2.50 a mile and I need 10,000 miles a month. I need 25 grand. Or he can say, well, I need 16 grand and I do 8,000 miles a month, 2,000 miles a week. And so he's like, well, I divided all that in there and, you know, I need $2.50 a mile. Well, when he sits it out and he sits there, his cost increase. His minimum per mile that he needs isn't $2.50 no more. But in his mindset, he doesn't know that because all he thinks about is I need $2.50 a mile and I'm not running cheap freight and I'm staying at $2.50 a mile no matter what. Well, that no matter what gets you into several things. If you look at all of the owner operators out there, guys and gals, what happens to them? Their bank account, the reserves go to close to zero or at zero, but this is what they start doing. This is what they start doing. Let's erase this. We got like a whole erase button. I don't know if we have a whole erase button. So I'll just make this really big. So we'll get rid of all this right here. Right? We'll just erase all this for now. And this is what they do. They sit and they got their $2.50 in their mind. And they end up sitting more than one day. In a market like this, they could sit 3 or 4 or 5 days. And how do I know this? Anybody know how I know this? My whiteboard went out on me. So we'll just fire it back up. Maybe we'll fire it back up. All right, anyway. It's being stubborn. There we go. Maybe from experience. Exactly. Exactly, Anthony Bressler. Exactly. I was at Landstar for 10 years, right? That's what Landstar taught. There was many of times I sat there in, I call it the homeless shelter, St. Augustine, Florida, during the bad times of the year, because trucking goes up and down. I sat there 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Why? Because nothing was paying, right? Nothing was paying. And you had the mindset of, I need this much per mile or I'm not moving the truck. It's better to take it for 2 rather than none. Exactly, Jose. So what happens? You sit there and you sit there. So here's what happens. You have, every business has a daily cost. So that cost goes higher and higher and higher as it goes on. So then here's what happens. If you have a maintenance fund, we're gonna have to zoom this up here. If you have a maintenance fund, we'll call that MF, Let's say you had $10,000 in there. Well, pretty soon it goes to $6,000. Why? Because you're taking out of this to pay this. So then, when it gets low enough and the truck breaks or something happens, then you got the big old credit cards. Right? You got your credit cards. Then you start putting money on this, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And what happens is every environment goes through this, right? Inflation comes about. They raise your rates. Your credit card minimums, right? Your minimums go higher and higher because the balance is higher. And what do? Your credit limit, they decrease it. Why do they decrease it? Because they want to lock you in, right? Because they know, they see your balance. Right here, they see it going up. And they see, let's say you had 5 credit cards. They see them all have balances on them. So they say, oh, well, let's lower the balance because they're going to have a hard time paying. So then they lock you in and they got you. Because now all you're doing is paying interest, right? Because all you can do is afford to pay interest at this rate. Why? Because you have the wrong mindset. Here's your mindset over here. And your mindset's on cost per mile, $2.50 a mile. This mindset here will make you go broke. It'll make you go broke. That's what will happen to you. And that's what's happened to a lot of guys and gals in this business. Why? Because they watch YouTube. They listen to people on YouTube. And almost everybody on YouTube talks this. I am the only one that talks cost per day. I am the only one that talks that right there. And the reason why I came up with this a long time ago is because I've done this, right? It's from experience. I haven't been out here for 30 plus years. For the heck of it. I've been there, done that in trucking. I've done about everything there is. I've been there and done it, so I know. So you can listen to all these other people that talk this. And you can go broke right along with them. Because anybody that has the mindset and has done cost per day and has tried it, and this is the hard part of it, is trying it, right? There's nothing wrong. It's not going to make you go broke. But it's going to play a lot on your ego, right? It's going to play a whole bunch on your ego, especially if you're one of those, people that has an ego and and you think you're always right. Well, because not everybody's always right. I'd like to see somebody prove this method wrong, because you can't prove it wrong. Anybody using cost per day? Come on here and in the chat, tell me if it works or not. Right? Tell me if it works or not. Because most truckers, right? Most truckers, I got off this. Maybe I got to have my cursor over here for this to work. There it is. That's why it's not working. Most truckers CPD, right? Cost per day. 95%, that's my guess, of all truckers will be between 200 and on the high side, 400 per day. And you say, well, how is that? Well, if you work 5 days a week, 20 days a month, so you get some time at home. If you do that, on the minimum, 20 days, this would be $4,000 to $8,000 per month. So when you add in your business plus your home, most people are somewhere between $4,000 and $8,000 per month. Now there are some that live more extravagant. They got a lot more toys and things like that because they like to have a good time and they're enjoying life or whatever. And maybe they're at $500 to $600 per day, but 95% is going to be in there, right? 95% is going to be in there. Now, if you do it on a 30-day average, those numbers are going down drastically because you got 10 more days there. But let's face it, you're not working 30 days a month because you're going to have some off time in there. But you could do a 30-day daily cost. I mean, you could take your household expenses and all that, average them out, your cost for the business, except for the variables, times it by 12, for the whole year, divided by 365 days, and you got exactly what a daily cost would be. And your cost at 365 days might be $100, might be $150, somewhere in there, and that's your daily cost for 30 days out on the road. Now, why is this important? Because we've taught this and we've helped some people out of going under. They were getting ready to lose their trucks because their credit cards were maxed out, their home bills weren't getting paid. And why? Because they were sitting in truck stops for days upon days upon days because they had the mindset that it's cheap freight. I'm not hauling cheap freight. And if everybody stops hauling cheap freight, we're going to fix this problem. Well, there's a problem. There's hundreds of thousands of drivers out there. Not just one or two, hundreds of thousands at any given time. Do all the hundreds of thousands of those business owners say, I'm not going to run? No, because a lot of them will know that their business has a daily cost and they go out there and they work. So what this does for you is it opens up a lot of opportunity. And in business, you need opportunity. This opens up a ton of opportunity. So if you're on the spot market and you look at the board and you had the mindset of $2.50 or $3 a mile and you sat there for days, guess what? It opens up probably 80% of the loads that you can haul on that board. You could probably haul at least 80% of them. Why? Because most of them will hit this cost per day. It'll hit your business and home daily cost. And if you do that, I've been sitting for a year now, so my cost per day is about $7,000 per day right now. Yeah, but Snow Alert is easy when you're making them $1.6 million a year like you do. Just saying, you got your heavy metal band t-shirt sales, which is through the roof. I'm not going to tell everybody that you make $500,000 in t-shirt sales, but it's close. And you got your coffee mugs. I mean, I don't have coffee mugs. I'm using these mugs. I mean, I bought this thing from a store, Tommy's Brand Coffee. I can't afford a Snorlord cup, because if you look at concerts now, right? I mean, you can get a nosebleed seat, cost you $400 or $500. I can just imagine what Snorlord's concert would be. I can't afford a ticket there. So I'm resorting to this. I'm hoping somebody will send me a Snorlord cup and I can add it to my collection. I like that though, $7,000 a day. But this is where most people are going to fall. So what that means is, and you'll get a lot, I don't care, people are going to say all the comments they want. But let's say you're at an 80-20 spot, you might be at a 65-100. If you're at the Big Blue Star, you might be at 65%. Why do people stay at the Big Blue Star at 65%? I have no idea. Because they drink the Kool-Aid, right? Because let's face it, even over here, even if you didn't rent the trailer and you're at 73%, if you're over there with the drive-in and you own the drive-in, you're at 72%. We still pay more and have a whole lot less fees than they do. Plus, you have a lot more freight to pick from. So it's kind of unbelievable, right? I mean, why do they stay there? Why do they think that's such a great place? It was one time back in the day before they went public. Anytime a company goes public, it usually ruins the vibe that everybody went there for. Because now when they're public, it's all about revenue, right? It's all about making the shareholders happy. It's not about the drivers no more. It's all about the shareholders. It's about the bottom line. It's about the dollar. So, what you do is let's say you look at $1.50 a mile. People, I'd never haul that dang $1.50 because I'm at $2.50. Well, they could haul the $1.50 because if their cost per day is, let's say, $300 per day, and let's say they're at 80-20 spot, right? They're at 80-20. They're at 80-20. They're at $1.50, and they need $300 per day. All right. So they're at an 80-20. This thing decided to work again. Would be in business, but it ain't. We'll just reset it again. See if that works. All right, there we go. We're back in business again. Stupid tablet. All right, so they're at 80-20. They're getting 80%. We'll lower that back down. So they're getting 80%, and they take a load for $1.50. And let's say it's a 500-mile load, right? 500 miles. That's $750, right? And if you get 80% of that, you got $600, right? So in 500 miles, how much fuel are you going to use? See, you just get just over 7 miles a gallon. What you got? 70 gallons of fuel. If you're paying $350, that's minus $245 in fuel. This is why you do it after fuel. And this guy needs, let's say, $300 per day. That's what he needs for his home, his business, all that. So if you subtract this, you got $355. He's got 55 pure profit. More than what he needs for his daily cost to run his house and his business. Because you got to have both or it doesn't work. So he could run that $1.50 on that 500 miles and be profitable. He would have never took it. He took 300 loads off the board because if 300 of them paid 150 and 0 paid 250, he sat there whole day. Now he needs, realistically, probably $354 a mile on his next load because you can't get back miles, man. You know, you can only do so many miles in a truck per day. So there you go. What happens to him? He needs 300 per day. 300. That's what he needs per day. He could run that $1.50, 500 miles. Now, does he want to do it all the time? Of course, no one wants to do that all the time. Right? That's not what we're telling everybody to do. We're teaching you how to stay in business. That's what we're teaching you. We're teaching you how to stay in business. There'll be times where you'll get $4.50 a mile. You'll get $5 a mile. You get $3.50. You get it all over the board. But what this does for you, it opens up the doors for a lot more potential. And when you have a lot more potential in business, you're going to do very well in business. So yes, Truckers Education Network is back, and we're going to teach business. And if you don't want to watch, don't watch. And we'll talk about the companies we use, right? Or have used. So every business should use some type of software. Whether, if you're a good programmer and you like Excel and you like making your own spreadsheets, by all means, make your own spreadsheets. If you're an entrepreneur and you say, well, my time's worth money and I don't want to do that, I'd rather pay Trucking Office or Axis or any other software program, then you use a software program. And of course, if everybody looks down in the description, they know the programs that I have used or are using because they're in the description, and there's a discount code. And I'll be doing one on Trucking Office because they've updated their software and they got split, right? They got split if you're going to split a load. So let's say a driver goes halfway, breaks down, somebody else has to take it and move on with it. You can split that load now, and we will show that. We'll show you how to do that on their software. So if you want to get Trucking Office, everybody knows the code. It's BRRN for Big Rig Radio Network 2018, because that's what this channel used to be. But Trucking Education Network is much better because that's what we do, is we just educate, and a lot of people don't like it, but that's tough. Because the truth hurts sometimes, right? You can sit back and you can say all you want, but how can you go under with cost per day? Because you know exactly what your daily cost is for your house and your truck and all your expenses and everything, and you can figure it out. And as long as you hit that number every single day, you're profitable. And then you'll hear some people, well, you got to pay yourself. No. You are paying yourself, because if you have your house expenses in here, in your daily cost, you're paying yourself, right? If you're a company driver and you get $1,000 a week paycheck, but you got to take your car payments out, your credit card payments, your house payment, your food bill, etc., 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 there goes your pay. It's no different for an owner-operator. Sole proprietor. Let's say you're not an LLC. You're not an S Corp. You're not a C Corp. Whatever you want to classify yourself as. If you're a sole proprietor, your money's what's left over. So, as long as you hit this number, and that way it opens up your eyes and it opens up your business to a whole lot more loads to keep you rolling. And what's nice about it is, so let's say you take that, what some people call cheap load, right? You take that cheap load, but it takes you to a better area. Then you get a really nice load. So it all averages out. It's all going to average out. You're not always going to hit the home run. For the people that sit in the truck stops for days upon days upon days, and they say, oh, I hit the home run. Well, they didn't hit nothing, because that home run just gets them by. Just gets them by. But the problem that they have is this. This is where the home run will make you lose the game, right? People say, oh man, I got a home run, I'm winning. No, make you lose the game. And the reason why is you don't have steady income. You're not building maintenance money up because you're sitting. And when you're sitting, you're spending money. And then when you hit that home run, you take off in the truck and your turbo goes. And then your injectors go. Now you're broke. Why? Because you sat around. You sat too long. You sat for 30 days, 24 days, any of that stuff. And you use your reserve. Well, CDN, here's why you have to add home expenses. Every business adds home expenses. Every business does. It's because every business has home expenses. Because if you're the business and that's your only job, that's your only income, you have to add home expenses because how are you going to pay your house and everything? How are you going to do it? Because to pay yourself, you have to know what your home expenses are, right? Because if you don't pay yourself enough, you can't afford that car. You can't afford that house. You can't afford your credit card bill if you have credit cards, and so forth. Can't afford your food bill. So if you're in business, you open up, doesn't matter what it is. Let's say you open up a landscaping business. Well, how much do you need to make in that landscaping business? I mean, because if you look at a daily cost and you don't include home, you could be business rich, but house broke. Which means, if you, let's say you own a truck, we'll make it simple. You got a brand new truck, it's $3,000 a month. You got a brand new trailer, it's another $1,000 a month. So you got $4,000 a month right there. And your insurance and everything. So let's say you're up at, $5,000 a month or $6,000 a month. Let's just make it $6,000 a month. And you're doing 20 days in business a month on the road. That's a $300 daily cost for the business. So you run it and you make $350 every single day you're out. Your business is profitable, right? But you can't afford your life. You can't afford to live. Why? Because you didn't include the home business. Therefore, you have no money for that. So you have to include that. And if you include that, then and that's why I say, if you include your business and all your home expenses, you will make it in this industry no matter how bad it gets. And it's proven time and time again, the people that use this method, that it works, and it's opened their eyes up and they stay running. They don't sit, they don't have to sit, because they know exactly what their daily cost is to keep their whole operation running. So we have some new trailers. If you want to come to this company, go to lighttrucking.com, fill out an application. We can have you here in days. Doesn't take weeks. We don't have week-long orientations like most companies do, and so forth. And you get paid after every run, next business day. You always have cash flow. So if your truck breaks down and it's down for a week or two, like at some businesses, you might not get a paycheck for 2 or 3 more weeks later, right? And they're charging you as you're sitting. There you go. What's up, Shadow Wolf? How is van life doing? Yeah, we got coffee. Almost out. See, we're almost out. Jerome Jones says, daily cost has opened my eyes. Now I know I can make it. Exactly. And the reason why they don't teach us is because they don't know, right? Like I said, I developed this years ago. And so I started, putting it on the YouTube channel. And a lot of people have adapted it, used it. And if you watch Shannon's channel, go watch her channel. She talked about it yesterday. Right? She come over here. She was at DART, had the cost per mile mindset. Come over here. Started doing the cost per day mindset, and it was hard, right? It was hard, and she's doing very well because it works, and she's very happy, and we're happy to have her. It's a great business partner, right? We look at bringing on folks over here that make great business partners, because that's how we treat our contractors, like a business partner, not like a driver, a business partner, because we're in this together, right? So if the contractors are successful, we're successful, and that's what we build it on. We build this business on being successful. And if you're having trouble, we will look at the lanes you're running, you're operating, but we can only help people if they're honest, right? You got to be honest, which means if you ask for my help, you better be willing to tell me everything there is to know about you, which means all your finances, all your truck finances, and you can't lie about them or sugarcoat them. All your credit, so we need to know everything, because if you don't know everything, then you can't set up a cost per day and get that number right. Because I've had some people say, "Oh, well, it's this, this, and this," and you do the cost per day, and they say, "Well, I'm not making it." That's because they weren't truly honest, right? They didn't put all their money in there. Therefore, the number's not right unless you're honest and put all the money in there. Right, Pigtail, full audit, raw data, right? I mean, you got to know it. How can you use cost per day in heavy haul? It's simple, William. You figure that out. Your trucking business has a daily cost, right? You could own the truck, but you still have a daily cost, because if you look at your yearly maintenance bill, you can have an average, right? You can have an average for your daily cost for that. Heavy haul is the same way. You got truck, trailer, equipment. You take all your business expenses and you have that cost. Fuel is a variable, so you don't include that. You look at a load, you take what you're going to get for that load, you subtract out the fuel you're going to use, you're going to burn in it, because everybody knows roughly what their truck is averaging per mile. And you could, to buffer that money, you could lower it a little bit or raise the cost of the per gallon and subtract that from the rate, and you'll know if that hits your daily cost. So if the load takes 3 days and your daily cost is $300 per day, that's $900 you need to net after fuel, $900 on that load to equal $300 per day. If it's a week-long load, same thing. If you're going, we had one of our drivers come out of Arizona in a van, and it was about a 6 to 7 day load. It paid $15,000. So if he has a $300 cost per day and it's 7 days, that's $2,100. He takes $15,000, 80% it, that's 12. Takes away his $2,100. He's down to $9,900. And if he used $1,500 in fuel, then he profited $8,400. Which, in return, if you look at that, in 1 week, he profited $8,400. If his daily cost is $300 per day for 20 days, $6,000. He's got the whole month made. Now, did he go home and sit there the rest of the month? No. Kept rolling. Right? You keep rolling, and you bank up that money. What up, Knight Rider? Do you have anywhere you would recommend buying a truck from the first time? Well, if you buy new, of course, go to a dealer. If you buy used, some people like Lone Mountain for new and used if you want to do their lease thing, which is really a loan, but the way they structure it's, if you read the IRS regulation, it's not a lease. But most people don't read, right? So, because if you lease purchase a truck and at the very end there's a $0 buyout, that's really not a lease purchase. Because if you read the IRS publication, it says at the end of the lease, you're supposed to buy it for the marketable residual value, No trucks were $0 in 5 years. Just saying. But a lot of people like Arrow, right? A lot of people like Arrow. There's a lot of good ones out there. Stay away from the one in Ohio that sells that big long nose stuff. You don't want that garbage. I mean, Arrow's a good one. Some of the freight, if you like Freightliners, some of the Freightliner select trucks are good because they go through them. Things like that. What's up, Go Price? I've been a Schneider IC for 3 years now. I have the title in my hands, 2021 Cascadia. If I come to your company, can I use your plates, insurance, etc.? Nope, you can use ours. I mean, they cost, right? There's a cost for them. But if you want to contact me, you can call me after this show. Just call their business number, 800-399-5722. Call me up. We can have you running in just a few days. As soon as the drug test is back, we can have you running. Depends on where you live, is where you need to get a trailer from. But we do have some new trailers sitting on the ground here in Michigan, ready to go. But yeah, paid after every run. We got a few Schneider guys that came here within the last couple weeks, and they love it. But we can get you going. Yeah, Kentucky's not far, so you could deadhead up here and hook up to that brand new trailer and be rolling. And if you deliver the load the next day, you get paid the day after that. So there is no waiting weeks, right? So, and that's a good thing about transitioning over to here, because let's say at Schneider you get paid on a Friday, and let's say your cutoff day is Monday night at midnight, right? So if you came up here on Monday, let's say, and signed on, you took a load Monday afternoon or Tuesday, delivered Wednesday, you get a check, you get a pay in your bank on Thursday, you picked a load up on Wednesday and delivered Thursday, you get another one on Friday. Plus you get theirs on Friday, right? So you're not going to lose really any money in between, especially if you took a load up here, dropped the trailer, let's say in Galesburg, Michigan, or up in Bay City, right? And we all know what's up there. Then you just bobtail here, and you really didn't lose anything, because if you drop that trailer, let's say Monday morning at 7 a.m., you could be those letters off your truck, the new stickers on your truck, and you could pick a load up that afternoon if you really wanted to. So, yeah, Go Price, give me a call. And like I said, go to lighttrucking.com, fill out an application, and in there it says, how do you hear about it? Just, you can just put down there, watch a YouTube comment or whatever. I know who you are. We get you going as fast as a drug test comes back, type of thing. We're in Davison, Michigan. Truman, just outside of Flint. That's where we're at. Your model mitigates the cash flow risk tremendously. Knight Rider, okay, thank you, Jeff. Listen, a lot of your older videos. Normally I'm driving, so I don't comment, but you're very knowledgeable about trucking for sure, and I appreciate the information you put out. We just try to help people out and give our experience, right? Give our experience and what we have done and so forth. Nope, you don't need a new physical. Go price. As long as your physical is still good, you're good to go. Nope, as long as it's still active, you don't need a new one. And the same thing for your truck, right? If you have a recent DOT inspection, your yearly or quarterly, I know Schneider does quarterly stuff. If you have a recent one, we'll accept that also. So it's just fill out the application, go take the drug test. That takes about 1 to 2 days to get back. Then you can be right on over here, type of thing. And we do one even better. If you need help taking out their ELD system, you just bobtail up here, park in the driveway in front of the barn, and we take that off, help take the stickers off, put that on. It takes maybe hour to 2 hours. We can have the whole thing done. New LDN, stickers on the truck. I have an extra plate sitting here, so we can even throw the license plate on there. I mean, it only takes a day or two to get that, squared away. If not, I give you I hand you the plate and the temporary until Michigan changes the numbers over, and then you can slap the plate on the front of your truck when I email you the new registration, right? So it's all easy. We even, we print the signs up here, so we don't have to wait for somebody to print the signs up. We do our own vinyl, right? So it's an all-in shop is what we do. All right, thanks for watching. We got to get back to work. We'll see you later. Snowlord, go live now. Sorry about taking your time. We want to see what's going on in the spot market, so fire up the 123 load board and all that good stuff, and put CD in on your channel live, because we like watching Rob too. He's got a very knowledgeable guy. If you're not subscribed to his channel, go subscribe. Pigtail needs to get a video channel up there. You know what I'm saying, Pigtail? Pigtail, would be nice if you did a video channel and showed how to do Excel. Show how to do spreadsheets. Because a lot of people don't know how to do spreadsheets. You could teach spreadsheets. That'd be a great information video. I'd watch those. All right. We'll see y'all later. Thanks for watching.